Hey, how you doing? Welcome. This has been a very interesting week for fans of PSVR2 because this is the week that we've actually been able to pre-order it. So there's a few things to talk about, but it's a really exciting week. And if you've been waiting, to get your hands on it, well, this is a big step. Brings us a big step closer. Right. Okay, let's talk about it. Did you get your pre-order in? Did you? Well, it was not easy for some people, and for other people they found it very easy. Now, what Sony has had to be mindful of is the fact that there are a lot of scalpers out there, and they wanted to try and avoid the problems that has beset the PS5. And the problem is that there are people who are buying PS5s and they don't want them, but they're buying them to sell on, obviously, to make a profit. Some people hate that, some people call that capitalism, whatever. But the point is, what Sony was trying to do was avoid this. So it set up a system where you would have to register and then get an invite. And then once you got that invite, it would allow you access to the site where you could pre-order. And strangely, for some reason, I didn't even know that you had to do this. And the pre-order date was Tuesday, and I actually only registered on the Monday. And so come Monday, I went to the Sony website, I registered, and I got an invite. And then on the Tuesday, when I tried to purchase, I got the link. You were meant to go and buy it. It was going to become available at 11 a.m. local time. And when I did try and do that, what happened was that I was there early and it said sold out. Everything was out of stock. So I was disappointed by that. I was thinking, I've got here early, it's been sold out. But as it happened, thankfully, what actually happened was that it's just because I was there too early and then I was able to purchase it. And then there was loads of people on Twitter and they were able to do the same. So I went, I pre-ordered. I don't know which package you went for. There was two packages. There was the standard PSVR2 box set, and then there was the other option that had the the Horizon Zero Dawn game on it. And I went for the basic package because my thinking is, whilst that Call of the Wild game or whatever it is, the Horizon game, I think it's going to be extremely popular, and so I don't want a digital copy of the game. I'd rather buy it and then sell it back once I've completed it because, we don't know yet how long these games are going to be. And it's definitely one I want to get my hands on. Now, I wasn't too sure if I was going to go for the PSVR, if I was going to pre-order, because I think Sony has been a bit strange in that I think there should have really been a big press event, like maybe a state of play where there was somebody introducing everything. Maybe it could have been, somebody from Sony talking about it and listing the games rather than just having this information drops on the PlayStation blog, because it is a launch of a new platform. And if you've got the launch of a new platform, there should be some sort of fanfare about it to get people excited, but also to make people aware of the details of what it is. And I think it's been very low key on this. Sony has been very low key with promoting it. So it doesn't mean that the product isn't good. It's just that there is a different approach to marketing this with this platform. And we're going to find out, I'm sure, in the fullness of time why this is. Anyway, so what made me pre-order? Well, the list of games that have been made available or that have been listed as being available, I don't really think that they're especially compelling to me. Because what I was hoping for, I was a person who bought PSVR, the first one, at launch. And, at that time, it was affordable virtual reality for the masses. It was, I can't remember what the launch price in the UK was, if it was $350 maybe. And for the UK, that was affordable. There was this new hardware, this thing that we've dreamed about, that's been talked about in movies and in books for such a long time. And here was a tangible product that you could actually get your hands on. And so it was very exciting. And the games, they were not full games, but they were VR experiences. And when you hadn't played VR before, it was just a great opportunity to get your hands on it, to be able to test it out, to be able to use it. And as it happened, before I got my hands on PSVR, I had actually trialed Oculus, and I believe it was that HTC Vive. And so I did have some exposure to it. But with PSVR, the first generation, there wasn't as much pressure to deliver these, these fantastic games that were going to be all-encompassing, because the main selling point was the novelty of virtual reality. For the majority of people, simply hadn't used virtual reality before, and so this was their first chance to get their hands on it, to try it out, and to see if it really worked. And the reality is, it did work. It was fantastic. It was immersive, and these games that you had, like the pack-in games, they were they didn't really have that much depth to them, did they? If you know what I mean. But it was just good because you got this sense that you could put the headset on and look around, and this was it. This was the promise of virtual reality. And so I think people were a bit more forgiving with the first generation, and that was fine. I used it, I enjoyed it, I loved it. But as the years went on, definitely I felt that I wanted some more substantial games. And for me, I think one of the best games for me was actually one of my favourite normal games, which is Skyrim, the virtual reality version. And Skyrim, love it, put so many hours into it, too many I don't even want to say. So getting the VR version and being able to experience what that was a really compelling experience. I mean, I will say though, for me, I still do have to find my VR legs with certain products, because the reality is, I think with some of these games, what's actually happening is that they can make some people feel nauseous, and some of the games were good for me, and some of them, they had a stronger effect on me. So it's different for everybody. But this is where the benefits of the new hardware come into play, because that should make a difference, and I'll come back to that. But in terms of the games, the selection of games, let's have a quick look at what we've got, right? So, bear with. Right. Okay, so we've got Horizon, Call of the Mountain. Everybody, I'm sure, is going to be picking this up. Fine, that's probably going to be the standout title. Fine. And Firewall Ultra, actually, thinking about it, that's something that I could really get into. An action game, if it's immersive. Horror, no. The reality is VR is too real. So I think I'm going to leave Resident Evil Village aside. I might give it a go. And the selection of titles, I'm not sure which is the most standout for me. I mean, I think I'm interested in the Star Wars game. But the one game that has made me decide to pick it up, to give it a try, is actually a game that is actually already available on PSVR1, and that's No Man's Sky. Now, No Man's Sky, I don't know if you've actually had the opportunity to play it in VR. I played it on the first PSVR1, and it really is immersive. It's fantastic. And the best thing is, my fondest memory of it is getting into your spacecraft, or my spacecraft, and then taking off the first time, and looking around and feeling that sense of velocity as you're flying and going into the atmosphere, or breaking out of the atmosphere. So this was really impactful for me, because it did feel real. It did feel like I was flying, and to now know that this is going to be an upgraded experience. You're going to be able to get it on PSVR2, but you're going to get that much higher level of detail. And I think that's going to really make a real big difference. So for me, No Man's Sky is definitely the game that has made it a must-buy purchase. And with regard to the other stuff, let's take a look. What else can we see here? Right, okay. So, yeah, I think there's not as many games here listed as I thought there was going to be. But look, PSVR, No Man's Sky, just that level of detail and being able to walk around and being able to experience it. This is delivering on the promise of what VR is. And Sean Murray, the creator of No Man's Sky, who runs the studio, I think he understands that better than anybody. This sense of adventure, of being able to do anything and go anywhere. So I think that's what makes No Man's Sky stand out, in that it's a full game. It's not a VR experience. Now, let's come back to this. And there has been a little bit of negativity with the coverage of PSVR2 this week. If we just go and have a look here. I'm just going to show you some people. If we just have a look at PSVR2, and we'll go to this week. So I think people were definitely going for the clicks this week, and you can see the guy who runs Zone of Tech here. It's doomed. These faces, they're doing their YouTube faces. Yeah, I think definitely having that negative take gets people a click. Somebody who I do like is PSVR2 without parole, or PSVR without parole. Oh, he's changed the name of the station, of the channel. I think the guy's name is Brian Paul. That's right. And he obviously delivers some of the most comprehensive coverage on PSVR, so that's pretty good. And yeah, he's down to earth. But look, let me just play you something. If we come here, okay, this is an ad.
The PSVR2 is a
just want to play you
improved graphics and improved resolution. Games such as Astrobot Rescue Mission, or Beat Saber, or Batman, or Hitman 3 VR. These were some of my favorites. But for some reason, Sony decided not to make PSVR 1 games compatible with the PSVR 2. Wait, what? Yes, that means no.
Right. So what he's saying is, he's criticizing Sony, saying for some reason Sony didn't make the PSVR 1 games compatible with PSVR 2. And he's a tech YouTuber. He knows what he should be understanding of what the different levels of technology is going on behind the scenes with this. And it's not that Sony did this for marketing reasons or to get people to buy a game twice. It's simply because the way the technology works between PSVR 1 and PSVR 2 is different. There is different sensor technology, there's different controller technology. With PSVR 1, you had to have the light on the back of the DualShock 4 being emitted and being captured by the camera, and that would help track the position of the controller. And you had lights on the headset as well. And it runs completely differently with PSVR 2. And so that's really the explanation of why these games are not going to be natively compatible with PSVR 2. But hopefully, a lot of the games will be getting an upgrade, and hopefully a free upgrade. That would make a big difference. So, one of the games that I never played is Astrobot's Rescue Mission, and that is meant to be one of the best VR games, actually. So I'm hoping to get my hands. I mean, I've actually got it in my download list. It just happens to be that when I got it, it was after I'd sold my first PSVR. I knew that I wasn't using it as much, and that's why I sold it. Right, let me just get rid of these naughty messages that people have been sending. Thank you. Right, okay, yeah. So I think I think it's a good week. It's a good week. It's going to be a good week because there is a lot of PlayStation news. It means that it's finally coming. I mean, it's the middle of November, and come Christmas, then the new year, and then it's out. Now, the one thing I would say is that I wish Sony would give us a bit more of an insight as to the whole PlayStation ecosystem, the PSVR2 ecosystem. What does the user display look like on the inside when you're using it? What are the features? Is there anything new that is different from PSVR1 besides the hardware improvements? Because I think PSVR was a good product, but it definitely needed an upgrade. And one of the things I would like to know is if there's going to be, if Sony's going to create its own metaverse type platform. Maybe it's a bit premature for that, but there was talk of PlayStation Home being brought back for VR. And I think maybe Sony thinks that it requires too much investment, so maybe that's the case. But what will be interesting is that Facebook's metaverse, if that's going to become available for PSVR, it would make sense to make it multi-platform. Definitely from Meta, the Facebook company's point of view, you want your platform to be available everywhere. I mean, it doesn't look that good, but to have multiple options available on PSVR2 definitely helps. And also, the other thing I would like to know is if there are going to be some non-gaming apps as well. So there are a lot of products like Google Earth, where you can explore Earth, and you have it's almost like Flight Simulator, but it's a view of Earth from above. That would be a really compelling experience to have, and it might help sell the product to other people because VR is good. VR is great, especially if you have some good games, but it can do so much more. And what PlayStation can offer, which the PC gaming platforms don't offer, or PC VR doesn't, is that it is so affordable, and not only affordable, but it delivers a high quality image as well. So this I'm thinking is going to make it stand head and shoulders above products like the Meta Quest 2. I mean, sure, Meta Quest 2 or Oculus Quest 2, whatever you want to call it. What is so great about it is that it's portable. You don't need any other hardware. And so this has made it really marketable to the casual people who aren't really into gaming. And it's nice and easy. But the one main problem of it really is that the processor is built into the headset. And it's a processor for a mobile phone. So it's not that powerful. The experiences are not that... the graphics aren't that compelling. And this is why when you play a game in PSVR2, you're going to see a massive difference. These are high definition graphics. And so I'm looking forward to that experience. And I think it's going to make a real impression on a lot of people. So the main thing though is that there has to be games. There has to be games that, that you want to play, that I want to play, that, everybody wants to play. So I would like to know that Sony is going to be releasing, and Sony and its third-party partners is going to be releasing some proper full games, AAA games. I'm happy with No Man's Sky. I'd like to see Skyrim VR get an upgrade. But I think to know that there was a game, something like Valve's Half-Life Alyx, that's the one we've all been waiting for, and we've come to the launch and there's no information about it. So maybe it's not happening, or maybe it's still in development, but there's games like that would make a real difference. And something else I would definitely like to see is if you've played GTA 5, especially on PS5, you can do the first person mode. Everything, you can experience the whole game in first person, besides some of the cutscenes, but that's all right. So I think this would be a very easy game to translate to VR. And imagine that, driving around in LA or whatever the city's called, and whatever the state is called, and just going around and experiencing GTA firsthand. yeah, I think that would be something that's a standout title, because that's what it's about. I don't want the standard 2D, or sorry, the standard VR experiences. I want full games, and any game that is 3D, first person, that has the potential to be translated to a VR game. So, if you're interested in it, if you've pre-ordered, then I think there is going to be a little bit of excitement now, because it now means it's happening. And yeah, tell me what you're looking forward to most. I told you what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully we get some sort of reveal from Sony, some sort of conversation from them before Christmas about what's going on and what their plans are, and some more details about the features. All right then, if you like that, give it a like. Thank you, subscribe, and yeah, we can talk about this in the future. Cheers.